Right, so let's crack into it then, shall we? And let's see what we got in store today. We've got some top stories, we've got some solar news, we've got some earthquake news, some La Palma Volcano news, and various other SHTF disaster stuff. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
And now, the news. Stand by. In 3, 2, 1.
And don't forget, we're all professional here. We have the Anderson Cooper glasses and we have the shuffling papers. It's all very professional stuff. So welcome to the SHTF News with your host, Andy, Andology channel. And so let's jump into the agenda for the SHTF News. On the 4th of November 2021, the day before Guy Fawkes here in the United Kingdom, bonfire night or fireworks night, where we celebrate the failed attempt of Guy Fawkes to take down the Parliament back in the day. So, do we celebrate that he failed or do we celebrate that he tried? I still haven't worked that out, but but for the time being, today is the 4th of November. Let's see what we got going on in the news today, starting off with top stories from around the world. And to be honest, I've just gone straight into BBC on a couple because it's quite funny to read. So I'm going to storm through this basically so you don't have to. So children 12 years old caught drinking at a beach party. This is in the United Kingdom, so they're obviously out having a good time. I want to feel safe as men on public transport, says some woman. And when I read that, kind of what I think what really she should be saying is what she wishes she had was the Second Amendment. Oh dear. Cupcakes recalled in the United States over metal fragment contamination fears. So anyone planning to make yourself some cupcakes today, don't. Especially not if it's from Tasty Cake Mix. Don't be doing that. So yeah, good to keep your eye out on things like that. Deadly US drone strike in Kabul did not break the law, Pentagon says. That's all right then. So this is referring to the 10 Afghan civilians, innocent. I didn't put that word in it. US drone strike that killed 10 innocent, I'll put that in, from innocent Afghan civilians was an error that did not violate any laws. Oh, okay, that's all right then. Okay, cool. As long as it didn't violate any laws, that's all right. Right, next. Was President Biden asleep or just resting his eyes? Well, I think there's a reason why he's called Sleepy Joe Biden now, isn't there? Carl Rittenhouse trial. When can you shoot as self-defense? This is referring back to that day. And, yeah. Saying basically, you should just basically lie down and let yourself be killed, basically. That's what you want to do. So, COP26. She's on cloud 9 after shaking the hand of US President. So, I'm not surprised this is headline news, because any woman who's on cloud 9 after touching the hand, being touched by that president, oh dear, deserves something, I tell you. So, yeah, she's all super pleased. And talking of which, obviously, we've got the COP26 going on. Announcing their global pledge to slash methane. Obviously the way they're going to do that is just to make us eat bugs. And ironically, the 400 private jets that brought them there, not quite sure what the carbon footprint is on that. Sizable, I'd imagine. But turns out even the meals they were eating, part of this, methane slash is talking about basically we shouldn't be eating anything but bugs because meat and that, bad carbon footprint. I think on average the UK meal, it'll be slightly higher in America, no offence, it's just the way it is. The UK meal on average is about 1.7 kilograms CO2 footprint. Whereas what they want to do is to get us down to about 500 grams, so half a kilogram. That's a third of what we currently put out as a CO2 footprint of each meal is currently 1.7. They want it to be 0.5. But interestingly enough, the meal that they were all eating at the COP26 was about 3,500 grams, so 3.5 kilos. So that's about 7 times more than what they're saying they want us to have. Oh dear, I don't know if they know this yet, but if you look into the sort of bugs and things and what their CO2 footprint is, it's quite high, right? I skipped over this one, by the way. US approves Pfizer vaccine for children over 5. So now they can be even safer than they already were. once they go and get their thing. So what we got up here, limits on Biden power to help save the planet. So yeah, basically they want to do more, but they can't because of blasted rules. Darn rules. So they might have to just lose the rules and lose some of people's freedoms, and then that'll be all right. And then they can save the planet. So yeah, that's probably what we'll aim for. So we need to give people to give up more of their freedoms, and then Biden will be able to save the planet. But not until you give up the freedoms, because the reason he can't is because of the limits, because of the rules. Just gonna have to overlook those darn rules. So, why are disabled people? So climate change, more climate change is what it's all about, isn't it? Why are disabled people so affected by the climate crisis? And I thought there was going to be some amazing mental gymnastics to arrive at this conclusion, but it was quite basic. It was just basically a lack of ramps at the opening of the COP26 meeting. So let's get some ramps in there for the disabled. Let's not let climate change hold them back. So first pill to treat COVID gets approval in the UK. So basically I imagine this is just something else that we all know the name of that we can't mention, rebranded and repatented so they can make more sheets on it. So that's what I imagine. But I don't know. I don't bother reading the story because we know it's going to be the opposite from what it says. So this is interesting because this is all part of the same agenda, of course. So they might as well follow it through. The Telegraph, mainstream. Talking about wood burning stoves are basically the evil of the world. So we need to basically get rid of all... we need to get rid of all of the wood burning stoves because, climate change and all that, right? But interesting enough, when you get past all the nonsense, and you read the people's comments, I'd say everybody here is disagreeing. The most fundamental human rights is the right to make a small fire for warmth and to cook heat and food. Hands off my eco log burner. We burn wood, which is carbon neutral. The wood is gathered locally with every few miles on its travel, blah, 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 yeah? Why should I get rid of my log burner? You want to leave people with no alternative means. You get the message, right? So, yeah, as per usual, nobody agrees with the nonsense. So... And here's an interesting one. Teen unable to leave her house after giant ulcers take over her face. The 19-year-old's face is covered with 2-centimetre deep holes. Warning, graphic images. Indeed they are. Check this out. That's bad news. Poor girl. But you know what's interesting is that in the comments here, every single person basically, all they seem to care about is whether she's had the you-know-what or not. Obviously, this is one of the things that's on the list of, So it's a fair question for people to ask. But yeah, it's just funny. Literally every question, that's all they want to know. Did she have it? Did she have it? When did she have it? When did she have a second one? I guess people want to know if there's, if they're going to end up looking like this as well. So yeah, I think that's all I've got for you there. As a little quick gander through what it is they want us to know. And now you know what they want us to know. So let's get into what they don't want us to know. So let's start off with the disaster map, as we like to do. And we're over here at disasteralert.pdc.org. Disaster alert, where we like to have a look at the top bits and pieces going on. We've got 82 active hazards at the moment. I did have a brief look through. It doesn't look like there's anything to be too worried about. Of course, we've got this tropical depression. Doesn't look like it's going to be hitting anything anywhere soon. We've got the volcano here in Japan, which is starting to show some activity. That was updated a while ago. And then we've got another tropical storm here, which is over out in the Atlantic here. So there's not really anything too epic going on there. We've got an earthquake there, 5.2 in Alaska, which is a pretty common place to see earthquakes. So I think we'll go and have a look at the specific earthquake map and have a better look at that in more detail. You can see here we're saying 28 earthquakes at the moment in the last 24 hours. This is based on 2.5 magnitude and greater. But as I mentioned last week and on the SHTF news, one thing that concerns me is that the USGS map, which is what was always my go-to map, this is where I'd come every day and have a look and see what's going on. So therefore I know when I see 28 earthquakes, I know what's normal, I know what's average. And so when I see, normally I'd see about 40 to 50 as an average, right? And recently it's been really low, despite the fact that it's actually been really high. So they've started censoring earthquakes on here as well. Specifically in the La Palma volcano area, they don't seem to be recording any earthquakes. But thanks to one of the friends of the channel who gave me a heads up last week, We're over here at volcanodiscovery.com, where they do have an active map that shows the volcano activity going on here, specifically in the La Palma on its own, just the La Palma Island there where the volcano is located, right? And as you can see, I mean, if I do magnitude of 3 plus, bear in mind this latest earthquakes here is set to 2.5 and greater, right? So what I've done here is I've selected all the ones that are, to be fair, there's obviously the 2.5 to 3.0, but even to the 3.0, you can see here there's loads of them. Loads of them. In fact, if you read up here, it will say, over the last 24 hours was shaken by 41 earthquakes of magnitude 3 or greater, right? So all 41 of those earthquakes should be listed on here, on the main USGS map, which it's not. So it's very misleading because the Kilauea doesn't seem to be on here either, right? They've got a couple on there, but I noticed there's loads of there that they don't seem to be listing. So it's not really a very accurate earthquake map anymore, since they're censoring certain areas. I mean, this should say 80 earthquakes, shouldn't it? Right, we've got the 40 odd from here. Well, it'll be more than 40. That's 3.0 plus. There's probably loads of 2.8s, 2.9s, yeah? So it is a bit of a concern, because look, you've got 72 earthquakes between 2 and 3, right? So even if you took half of them as being 2.5 to 3, that's another 35 to go on there, isn't it? Yeah, so you're talking like 70 earthquakes of 2.5 and above just at La Palma, right? So let's have a look. This is the live feed of La Palma on YouTube, courtesy of TV Canaria. So just give it a refresh here, just to make sure we're definitely as live can be. Doesn't look too spectacular in the daytime, but there's an awful lot of emissions coming off that. I do follow it during the night as well, so I can check. So we can rewind it back here 4 hours ago early in the morning, and I think it should let us go back far enough. Here we go, and we can see here just you know, where all the lava trails have come out and spilled over the top, and it's obviously making new routes. But yeah, it seems to go in phases, where it's sort of more and less active as we go, and yeah, it's difficult to see with all of the smoke there, but let's flick back to here, and then we'll keep our eye on that. Excuse me. So also I like to let's also just double check in here. This is the earthquake map, the slightly different one that does show. It's funny because I need to make one of my own, really. I'm a software programmer, so if I had the time and the money, I would make my own earthquake map that would combine everything in there and be more usable. This one's all right because it doesn't censor them, but it's a frustration because you can't zoom in. It doesn't show you exactly how many earthquakes anywhere of that number. So again, I need to start finding new resources. Now I've been really let down by the USGS map, which I usually is my go-to map. So, you know, not ideal. So let's have a look at a windy map then, and we can see here what sort of sulfur emissions we've got going here. This is the emissions coming off the volcano. The wind directions are changing all over the place. Last time I checked in, it was going up north. Last time before that, it was going off here somewhere, and now we seem to be going sort of northeast. And we can shove a pin in there and see if it's anything more than 72 is dangerous. 133 is nearly double what you call a dangerous level. And of course, the problem with these wind directions at the moment is it's blowing it right onto the main landmass of northern Africa there, just missing the south of Europe. But by the time it gets to Italy there, passing over Italy, we're down to slightly more safer levels of 58 micrograms per meter squared. So they don't have to worry too much about it. But over here, when you've got 139, double the limit. I say the limit, it's just a number that can cause extra problems with things like acid rain and stuff, yeah. And of course, you know, the usual affair over off the Chinese North China coast, and Japan here. Not sure what this is. We had this last time. I have to sort of cross-reference that and see what's causing this up here. So that's worth keeping an eye on as well. So yeah, that's the disaster maps, and doesn't look like there's anything to be too amazingly worried about. Let's close some of these windows down, because next up we've got the space weather, which I'm sure a lot of you are here for, following on from last week's space weather news that everyone seemed to really enjoy. So let's keep up with the trend there, and let's dig in to see what's going on. And this is one of the things I wanted to talk to everybody about, because we had another M-class flare here. Let's look into this one. And you can see we had basically some seas dipping around here, and reasonably long. This was quite a long one, you see, and I mentioned last week that we need to be careful, not just if there's big ones, but if there's long ones, yeah? Misses. Size does matter. So, sure enough, what we're seeing hitting us now, as we can see here with the K index here, and you see on this map we're seeing purple. We don't want to see purple. Purple comes after red. So yeah, we've got a lot of energy hitting us. And when I was checking this earlier on, and I saw it was fading out, so I thought, I'm not going to be too quick to get up there with any breaking news stuff. But when I checked this out earlier today, I'll show you where it was when I saw it earlier, and I thought, that's not looking good. So look at this. This is what was going on while you were sleeping in America. This was passing right over there, and I thought, I was tempted to do a live show then. An SHTF news broadcast then, but I looked and I thought, no, everyone in America's basically asleep, so I'll wait until later in the day, and it looks like it's passing over anyway. So this is usually where this is like probability of aurora, the Northern Lights show and things. So you can see really nearly all of Canada would have got a pretty good light show last night if you'd been looking out. So that's always a good indication of the amount of energy coming into to our magnetosphere. And here's a better view of it from the side. This is the magnetosphere cut planes, and we can look at things like the density, and the pressure down here is better. But it gives you an indication of what's hitting us right now. And you can see the time up here. Still haven't got my mouse highlighter rocking. So this is today. This is this morning. That's 6 hours ago. And you can see it will start getting buffeted by the incoming solar stream. And, that long one. There you go. Woomph. You can just see it got released there, yeah? And so by the time I was considering doing a live update, I could see that it was... you can see where it got released there. It's a shame because it's being... You see that? Buffeting. Boom. Now, what happens with things like the Carrington event, where it took out the grid... Look at that. Bosh. What actually happens is it short circuits the opposite side. So as we look at this now, the sun is on the left as we look at it, and this is Earth, and this is the solar rays, the solar energy coming in and hitting Earth on the sunlit side, which is what we saw when we were looking at this, was that hitting us. Boom, right? That was it coming in, as we see here. And when it's extreme, what actually happens, and sorry, this is from the side, and on the right hand side, this is meridial planes, that's looking from above, right? Now, what happens is the actual backside, not the sunlit side, but the backside, actually, the magnetic field of Earth kind of short circuits behind, I should be the other way, it short circuits behind Earth. And that short circuit is what causes a build-up of electromagnetic energy in the power grid. And what it also does, which nobody seems to talk about, maybe they just don't know, which I find more worrying, is on big solar flare events like this we see where the pressure's built up like that and it's hitting us, we actually lose an awful lot of oxygen out of the upper atmosphere, stratosphere, straight out into space. Lost forever. We don't ever get it back. Once that oxygen's gone, it's gone, right? So we don't want... It's not good. It's not good all round, right? And you can see here with the Enlil spiral where we can see that energy coming in, look. And as I explained last week, the top one here is looking down on our equatorial plane, our solar plane. And you can see, boom, this is where we hit in Earth. The Earth is the green dot. And from the side view below it there, you can see dead on hit, straight on. And from the top view there, dead on hit, straight on. And of course, that's reflected in the plasma density graphs there, where you can see that spike just where the playhead is there. Look, boom, as it comes in. And we're talking, but I think it was 736 kilometers per second the velocity. And of course, the higher the velocity, the more impact and the more pressure it puts onto our magnetosphere, and causing those back-end shortages, out shortages, and oxygen exhaustings into space, never to be seen again. And yeah, never a good look. So I've been checking in on that for you, making sure everything's passing over us as, you know, safely as possible. I'm seeing some downgradings here and some upgradings there, particularly earthquakes seem to be being downgraded all the time and hidden. I'm seeing gaps in these charts as well, which is again usually an indication that they like to, when it goes over a certain point, they kind of cut it and check it. If it's gone way off the scale and they don't want people to know about it, they'll just remove it and maybe put it back in later. So I'm always kind of somewhat skeptical and suspicious when I see things like earthquakes being removed off maps and solar flare activity being dumbed down, hidden, reduced, and so on. But I think this is probably about right for what they're classing it as. And the main problem we've got challenging us at the moment are these two sunspots. Really, you got this 2891, which was what that last one just came off. The 2888 is just coming round to the limb of the side of the equatorial of the solar disk there, and then the 2893 looks like it's going to be active as it comes around as well. So there's a few sunspots there to look out for. And as the classification of these, the magnetism is classified as beta, alpha, and gamma. And when you get all three and they start intermixing with each other, that's when you get coronal mass ejections and filaments build up and explode and, you know, heading towards Earth. Not a good look. And you can see here for November 4th, they are forecasting levels for K-index, a G3 storm. And, you know, we probably won't see any major, outages or anything. But it does indicate, sure enough, as I reported a few weeks ago on the beta launch, that, you know, it is thought that a possibility and the chances of a repeat Carrington event scenario is most likely between about now and about 2024, 2025-ish. So definitely good idea to keep ourselves in the loop when it comes to space weather, solar flare news, and all other forms of SHTF. So moving into, we've just done the space weather. Moving into the cyberspace, we'll see what's been going on around the world in the internet, in the interwebs, and see if who's under attack. And looks kind of average. The top attack target's different this week, though. United States seems to be the one being attacked the most today. About 3 billion attacks in the last 24 hours. Each of those is a logged DDoS attack and scamware attack and various other forms of attacks that it logs. And of course, as I always say, you know, it allows us to get a heads up if we start seeing some weird activity where it's ramping up with a particular country. I've seen it before. And I spotted, there was a country before, I think it was Netherlands a few weeks ago, and I saw it spike up on here. And I checked out on the Downdetector, which I like to check in on as well. We'll just do again a quick refresh there. And again, you'll see certain spikes of outages in line with certain countries because that's where their servers are located, right? And you, over time, as you continue to follow the SHTF news that I'll bring you, you'll start to learn the patterns like I have, and you'll start to see what's normal, what's something to be aware of, what's something that's concerning, and so on. So the Downdetector here, good source of information, see what's getting hit, see what's going down, see what I have problems with. And if you keep trying to log in or you keep getting errors on things, you'll know why ahead of time to sort of relieve you from any frustration. And you can see here the Cash App looks like it's on the way up to having some sort of outage. Network Solutions having some ish, big hosting company there. And First Horizon. Facebook did have a glitch, looks like they're over it. And Facebook Messenger had a glitch about the same time, so it looks like it affected all their servers. And of course, we all know how easily it can be all brought down to its knees, especially when you got the right switch under your desk in the Facebook offices to switch. It's very easy to shut it all down, isn't it? So, Downdetector, this is the Cash App. So loads of people reporting problems right now. So don't be surprised if you try and send me loads of money and you can't. Oh dear, PayPal's the way to do that. Got to keep those pigeons fed. And this is the Blackboard as well, which looks like they're having outages and a new one ongoing. So again, worth checking in on that. But as far as the interwebs are concerned, it's not looking too bad today. I don't think there's anything major to fear. So that's good news. And on to the economics. We'll see what's going on with the cryptos. See what's going on with Bitcoin and Ting. And see if we are up or down. And I can tell you now, that button. We're kind of about average. Looks like the old Shiba meme coin is taking a hit. Down nearly 20%. Most other things are up. Ethereum seems to be holding its ground, neither up nor down. Bitcoin still seems to be hovering around that 61 mark. It's obviously a big area of resistance above 60, breaking through to all-time highs. So we'll have a look over here at Coin Checkup. Give us the rundown. We can see it's kind of a mixed bag today. There's not too much epic going on. And when we look here on the main news, again, not too much happening. Polkadot and Solana reach new all-time highs. Coinbase is testing subscription service with no trading fees. That's interesting. So rather than paying a fee each time you trade, instead you'll just pay a subscription fee, I guess monthly, and then all your trades are free. And for those wanting to get into trading, I think cryptos is a really good way to start because you can do it so cheaply, So I think that's cool. And again, I've mentioned before, I will do some videos on crypto to bring people up to speed. And in fact, this week's Truth or Trivia is going to have a crypto question in it, a Bitcoin question. So that'll be interesting to see how you get on with that. So key takeaways: Goldman Sachs Global Market Managing Director Bernard shared his midterm outlook on Ethereum. He reckons the price could surge to 8 bags of sand. So $8,000, he's talking nearly a doubling based on the $4,500 we're talking now. So of course, a lot of confidence in the market. Ethereum is more of a smart contract platform than it is a cryptocurrency. So it has utility. It's a little bit like the argument of silver over gold and things, where silver's utility in so many markets with electronics, and it's the most reflective known to man. It's the most what else is it? Most conductive, the most thermally conductive. It's got antimicrobial properties. I mean, silver's just useful, right? And that's a little bit like the Ethereum is like the silver version, not because of a currency, but because of its utility in most of the, a lot of the other sort of leading blockchain smart contract type technology. So Ethereum is a good indication of market adoption and business adoption for decentralized type things. So, always a good indication of what they got planned out. And I think what's really the important thing to look at when it comes to the crypto markets is just really focusing on this, the total cryptocurrency market cap. Is it up or down? Is there more money coming into the space, or is there less money coming into the space? And of course, with what we've got going on at the moment with all the printing around the world, it's kind of like a pretty normal hedge for people to try and hedge against the dollar, against their fiat currencies that they know aren't really based on anything much apart from the threat of force and things like that, right? On a military scale. So as time goes on, more and more people are finding ways to, diversify their, and, a good indication is, rather than people going on about, oh, the price of Bitcoin's up, the price of Bitcoin's down, it's not really that relevant. I mean, it is, but to be honest, you can have situations where the price of Bitcoin's gone right down, but the market as a whole has gone up, as in there's more money coming into the crypto space as a whole, suggesting growth, right? So as long as we always seeing this going up, it's always going up. There's no hiding that, yeah? We just see a divergence of where that money is kept. At the moment, 43% of the crypto money is all kept in Bitcoin and about 20% in Ethereum and the rest in the rest. Whereas maybe a year ago, that would have been about maybe 89% in Bitcoin, not 42, 89% in Bitcoin and maybe about 6% in Ethereum. So you can see already just in the last 12 months, the weight of where that money in the crypto market is being held is changing all the time. So it doesn't, just because you see Bitcoin going down doesn't mean the market as a whole is going down. Just so you know. So that brings us to the end of our segments for the SHTF news, I do believe. So we'll jump back to the chat and we'll look at your questions, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's been going on with you in the chat. And thank you to everybody that's joined the SHTF news. For those at home, oh, there's Debbie. Hello. Sorry, I've got. Oh, it's going absolutely wild in the chat. I haven't even looked at it. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I've had to ignore you all. So,